Welcome back to One Piece Anime Review. This is episode number 29, and this one I'm reviewing episode 816 for the One Piece anime, and I'm also going to talk about chapter 887 for the One Piece manga. First up, it's the 816th episode, Fate of the Left Eye, Pedro versus Baron Tamago. That's literally the guy's name. Now, this is actually the first episode for this arc not to feature Sanji. Yep, Sanji is absent this whole episode. I should point out the episode. Now, what did they adapt for the manga for this one? Well, they only adapted pages 2 to 3 and 5 through 11. I'm like, why did they skip page 4 for? It seems a little odd. They're probably going to adapt that page plus probably pages 12 to 17 in the next episode, and maybe the first 10 pages of and probably maybe pages 2 through 11 in next week's episode. Yeah, probably. But yeah. Pudding does show up in the episode briefly for like one scene. She comes across Sanjay's sister, who was wounded about, I think it was just a couple episodes back, and she just probably takes him to her room, and from looks in the next episode, she's going to treat her wound. I don't know who shot her, though. Yeah, I don't think that's revealed. I don't remember who actually did shoot her. Luffy is seen for like one scene this whole episode, where him and Nami are still in the prison book. They haven't got out of it yet, despite picking the manga they've gotten out of it. I will get to the chapter here in a few minutes, but let's see. He twists his arms. Heck, his arms nearly come off, and he thinks that'd be a good idea to get himself out of that little bind. And he does it after the first time. He tries to do it again, and of course they didn't do much with it. Most of the episode is dealt with. There's one scene with Big Mom and Brooke, what looks like they're about to fight, and most of the episode is not focused on them. It's focused on Baron Tamago and Pedro. Basically, it's focused on Pedro's backstory this episode. Yeah, basically of him. It's showing the flashback of him coming to Whole Cake Island, and apparently he wanted to steal Poneglyph. He didn't say exactly which one he wanted to steal because there's two different types. There is the blue poneglyphs and the red one, which knows road poneglyphs. And there are 4 of them. Maybe he wanted to steal the red one. They never officially say exactly which one they wanted to steal. And because they met with Pengrams, basically, who's a fellow mink of theirs, and basically because it's Japanese, they refer to them as like big brothers. Basically because they're close friends. So Zeppo, from looking at him, he looks kind of like, appearance-wise, he could be a distant relative of the bear, the mink bear, who's navigator for Trafalgar Law. I mean, he looks almost exactly like him, except it looks like he has facial hair. I mean, okay, why would a bear need facial hair? He has fur. That honestly made no sense at all. Yeah. I mean, it's been a while since I've read the chapter, so yeah, it's been like, I don't know, a couple months I've read the chapter. So yeah, there's that. So they briefly fight with the homies, lose. They get taken before Big Mom herself, and she puts them through like a trial thing, like the roulette, basically take a few years. So she says he sends her to take off 100 years off their life. So she goes Zippo first because, well, he's on the left. Supposed to take 100 years, but she only take up 30 because apparently he only had 30 years left to live. And then she was about to give Pedro the same treatment, but Penco's basically begged to lower it down a little bit, so she took off 10 years, lowered down to 60. But the reason why she wants to take off a bunch of years off of him because he also took Baron Tamago's eye. So as sort of a way not to take another 10 years off, he removed his own eye. Thank God it shows graphically. Yeah, that would have been really stupid for the anime to do this. So they take 50 years off his life, and that's the thing. Most of the episode, it just is this big, huge sword fight with Pedro and Baron Tamago, which the episode ends with Pedro slicing Baron Tamago in half. And it looks like his middle thing is actually an actual egg. Yeah, it's a little odd. I've never heard it actually explained, but he gets sliced up, and as far as I know currently, he's not alive anymore currently in the current part of the arc. So I think he definitely does die. because it's been a while, so I don't exactly remember that far back. But mostly this episode, there's no changes from the pages they adapted. They pretty much kept everything in, except here's what they added. Of course, the whole thing of Luffy spinning back around basically hits his head. Of course, I mentioned the whole thing with Ranju, who is Sanji's sister, meeting with Pudding. That never actually encountering her before she got into the room because it's kind of awkward when you see in the manga. It's like, oh, they're just in a room together for no reason. They're talking. Yeah, and the reason why she's there is because she got wounded. Brook preparing to fight Big Mom. Pedro's first with Tamago. A flashback. It looks like he's gonna steal the rope. The flashback basically. They put that in there. The extended fight between Pedro and Tamago, and Pedro's infiltration with Zeppo. Yep, they just basically it's more like this episode is more of like kind of like what they previously just additions and extensions, which is great. I wonder if Brooke will bring out the Big Mom that, hey, you know what? I'm older than you. Because Big Mom is supposed to, I think she's supposed to be like 66 years old, and Brooke is 90. So, I mean, he's 34 years older than Big Mom. So, yeah. And I don't think he's going to say to her, can I see your panties? I don't think he's going to say that to her at all. One, she's old. Two, she's older. She's an older woman. Probably not somebody of his taste because he usually likes women around Nami's age. Nami or Robin's age. Women who are like 20s or 30s. That's basically his age bracket he really wants to do. He really is interested in. That's one reason. Two, she's overweight. So, yeah, he's not interested in her at all. And if I remember, from the manga, he does get a chance to, he does, in fact, copy the rope poneglyph at some point, because I actually remember him actually having sketches of it, because he was there just to do a copy of it, which Big Mom thinks he's there to steal it, which same thing happened years prior. I think it was like 10 years prior. Yeah, it was 10 years prior to this, basically, that Pedro had been to Whole Cake Island, so at least they kind of knew who he was. So yeah, she had kind of experienced this. Basically, she was probably in her 50s when Pedro last came to the islands, because now she's in her mid-60s. So last time it was mid-50s, now it's mid-60s. And from look of it, it looks like the only thing they changed in the flashback is they changed the outfit she was wearing. Because her outfit in the flashback is completely different from the way it is in present day. Also, apparently, they also have it where her cloud, or her homie cloud, her homie sun, her hat can all change forms. And looks like they're about to fight. I thought they were going to fight in this episode. I was mistaken. Because this episode was going to be, because the episode was the fight between Pedro and Baron Tamago, which basically Pedro wins that fight. Next week's episode looks like it's going to be Sanji finding out about Pedro Pudding's her devil fruit powers. Basically, apparently she can alter her memories. Yes, and she's a three-eyed human. Yep. So that's really much it for the episode. It was a pretty interesting episode. I love the backstory for Pedro because Pedro's an interesting character, and it's sad to see what happened to his comrade, his best friend Zeppo. Yeah, and I'm not surprised he knew Penguins because they're both fellow minks, and minks basically kind of know each other anyways. So there's that. But now on to the manga chapter 887, which is called Somewhere Somebody is Wishing for Your Happiness. Yep, that's the name of the chapter. And this whole chapter, now I should point out though, this chapter does not feature Luffy at all. Yeah, Luffy is absent from this chapter. First time in a few chapters, basically, Luffy has been absent. And there's a brief cameo for like, I don't know, like one panel, probably like one page of the Straw Hat crew. Well, half of them anyways, with the exception of Sanji. Sanji gets a lot of panel time in this chapter, where they finish the cake and they're taking out the uh Capone Bodge's ship, and of course Clifton does not know that this big guy, who basically knows her name, she still does not know that that is actually her father. Yeah, and apparently I heard something was revealed that Oven is actually her brother. I mean, not like half brother. I mean, like her full brother. Apparently, Big Mom had triplets. Basically, it was Oven, Clifton, and Lola. Okay. But the weird thing is, Oven looks nothing like his father at all. As a matter of fact, I mean, in the case of Clifton and Lola, yeah, they're twin sisters, and they look a lot like their father, but basically with the whole big head thing. But Oven looks nothing like his father at all. Yeah, that's basically what it is with that. And it's implied Pound may have actually died in this chapter. Yeah, it's implied he may have got his head chopped off. And at least he got a chance to see his grandchild. Well, his first like blood grandchild, not a bunch of step grandchildren. He's probably he's probably loosely related to by marriage, but basically his first ever grandchild, because apparently he's had 3 kids and at least 1 grandchild. Yep, there's that. Of course, Sanjay basically lifted the cake up with 1 leg. Yeah, this is really awesome because Sanjay loves using the legs. He lifts the thing up with 1 leg, and he carries it over to Bold's ship. And also, he shows off his different powers. Apparently, he can bake stuff because they call it oven. Apparently, he tries to boil the ocean. So, he gives the fire tank fireman time to get away while he apparently sacrifices himself. But yeah, and I'm kind of like, where the heck is... Now, Luffy apparently is It's odd, though, for Luffy to miss a chapter. It's been a while since he missed a chapter. Yeah, it's been a while. I would say, yeah, it's first time. It's probably a few chapters. Probably it's just been a long while, because there is no mention of Luffy this whole chapter, and he's just completely absent, which is odd. I mean, in the last chapter, you at least got a cameo by him for at least for like 1 page, a 1-page scene. Here, he doesn't appear at all, which is interesting. So with this particular one, you can definitely feel this though that the plot is definitely for. Oh yeah, Big Mom does make a 1-page appearance, and apparently she's gone back riding her wave. She's gone off Nut Island, and she's gone riding back on her wave, going to Straw Hat ship. And the book kind of ends with them wondering where the heck is Luffy, or at least how the heck is he get back. My personal guess is that Luffy probably the way he can, since he's out of Mirror World, and once Big Mom eats that cake, maybe she'll let them go without taking their lives. I hope not. Luffy has already sacrificed 10 years of his life already. He's not prepared to do that again. Yeah, he had to do that when he was going through Impel Down. Basically, I'm trying to think what was his name. Ikachar, I think his name is, the guy who's based upon Frank Furter from Rock Horror Picture Show. Yeah, he basically took away 10 years of his life in order to save his life from being, because he was heavily poisoned. So I don't think Luffy's going to sacrifice more of his life in order to stay alive. Yeah. I don't think it was half his life. No, I think it was more like 10 years they took off him just to save his life. Yeah, so I don't think they're going to have him go through the roulette wheel. Maybe he'll make a deal with Big Mom, especially have the whole crew let go, including Sanji, in exchange for never coming back to the island. Or at least having a fight with her later. Maybe, I don't know. It just depends exactly what they're going to do once this arc finally wraps up. And I've had a couple story theory ideas, basically what Oda probably could do next once this whole cake arc is wrapped up, because Wano Country is going to be delayed for at least for a year or two, so it probably won't happen right now until maybe late 2018, or it could be as late. It could be sometime next year, or probably around this time next year, or it could be as late as 2019, maybe 2020 at this rate for Wano arc. Yeah, there's a couple different ideas I think that Oda should try. One where he has the Strider crew like Raph they get rid of Whole Cake Island with Sanji. I'm hoping also with that female chef who he protected from his family. Maybe I don't know. Maybe she'll briefly become like a guest of the crew. Who knows what they want to do with him? Um, they're probably this is my first idea. First thing I should do is probably make a visit to the Boss Luffy universe. I mean, it's an alternate universe every few in Japan. It would be nice to do that for a brief period of time. Don't spend a long period of time like you have. Like, don't have this arc last for like 2 years, like the last couple arcs did. Yeah, that's basically what Oda's been doing the past several years. Having like arcs that run for like a year, maybe 2 years. You can have this arc run for 6 months, but not like almost 2 years. It's kind of ridiculous. That's one possible idea. Plenty of people agree with that. That sounds like a great idea to do. Another one, like one person agrees with me, this sounds like a good idea. The other one does think it's a good idea. Excuse me. Having a kidnapping plot basically has the following arc that maybe come after the whole Boss Luffy stuff, where my female character in the series, Boa Hancock, gets kidnapped by some mysterious villain, and Luffy has to go rescue her. Simple as that. But it cannot be somebody recent. It can't be something like Doflamingo, something like that. It depends upon exactly what Oda wants to do once Whole Cake finally ends. Because I've been feeling this from an arc I've read. It seems like this arc is going to end wrapping up pretty soon. They thought within a few chapters, but it looks like it's going to be a little bit longer. My personal guess is this arc is probably, and this is just theory, this arc will probably wrap up, and this is just a really good theory. It will wrap up with chapter number 900. It could, but this arc has been going on now for, at this rate, for at least 53 chapters. Yeah, this arc started with chapter 825, and this is chapter 887. So this is 52 chapters in. This is like 53 chapters in. So I kind of think, though, is his arc going to wrap up soon? Who knows? It depends on what Will wants to do. Okay? So that's it for this episode. Stay tuned for when I do next week's episode, which is basically the moist cigarette, the night before Sanji's wedding, plus also chapter 388, whatever it is next week. Okay? But until you see you all in my next episode, bye.